Sometimes the best place to find your next great real estate deal is just hanging out on the MLS, languishing, waiting for you to show up and find it. That's what happened for this Deal by Deal episode 30 back in 2017. So I'd seen this property sitting on the MLS for a few months, and I was just really busy. It was summer and fall, and I had recreational activities and business that was keeping me busy. This property was a little bit out of town, so I finally showed up to go take a look at this property, and it was a lot cooler than the MLS led it to believe from the pictures and stuff. So it was listed as a dry cabin, and there weren't really great pictures. It was on about an acre of land, and the land isn't real expensive in this area, but still pretty cool acre, flat, usable. It's got this little house, a one-bedroom house sitting there, and it had some sort of septic system, but I didn't know what. There were some pipes coming up. We did end up having to replace that later. But it sat there for a while. It was an estate sale. There was a little bit of debris around. Not much cleanup to do, but it was a house ready to be plumbed. Had the plumbing and the electrical on the inside. It was hooked up to electric, but it didn't have a well and it didn't have a full septic hooked up. So I was able to get this deal for about $20,000. And I think they owner financed it for a couple years. I don't remember exactly because it was a while back, but I was able to get it for real cheap. So maybe I paid cash for it. But the first thing I did, since the house was already plumbed, is I went ahead and put a well in. So we measured it back 100 feet from the septic, or just over that. Hired a company to put the well in, had an excavator come out and put the well line from the well to the house. Here in our area, it has to be about 10 foot down so it doesn't freeze, and I think they put some insulation and stuff on it too. But hired a company to do that, hired a plumber to come finish hooking up a few things under the house, the well pressure tank, and I think maybe a hot water heater, and then the house was good to go. So it didn't cost me too much, and I turned around and sold that home, of course, on owner financing. I think I sold it for around $70,000 or $80,000. I think I was into it for about 30 or 35 between the work that I put in, the plumbing and the well and the purchase price. The buyers gave me a decent down payment, I think $5,000 or $10,000, and they were making a monthly payment of, I don't know, $700 or $800 for a couple of years, and fell behind, and eventually they ended up abandoning it, left state from what I had heard through the grapevine, and never came back. So I ended up having to foreclose on that property, and then they left it kind of a mess. I had to get a dumpster in there, get it all cleaned up. And the septic at that point wasn't functioning, so we went ahead and replaced the septic, and so I spent some more money there. But the money that I was spending was pretty much money that I had gotten from the first time around that I sold it, between the down payment and the monthly payments I collected for a couple years. And then so we turned around and resold that property, I think for 90 or 100 the next time, because it had a brand new septic and it was a little bit cleaner and ready to go. So a little one bedroom house, kind of a cabin, but had a well and a septic and electric. So it was a legit little house, just pretty small. I think maybe 400 or 500 square feet total. And we've got a buyer on that who's been making good payments for the last, I don't know how many years ago I sold that the second time, probably 4 or 5 years. Probably 4 years that they've been making payments on that. So that property is long paid off, whether I paid cash or owner finance. That check just keeps coming in. I'm charging interest on the loan, of course, so making good money on top of that, as well as the spread. There's the interest there on top. There's nothing real exciting about this deal. I mean, it's still a deal that over the years, with the principal and the interest, I'll probably profit $100,000 or more on this over the years. And that's pretty typical for a project like this that we put work into and stuff. What makes this deal special is that this isn't something that I worked on, through the grapevine, or negotiated or networked and found this awesome deal, off market, or that was brought to me. This deal was on the MLS for the whole world to see. It was on the internet, marketed by a professional realtor who was, trying to get the word out. But it wasn't an awesome job, and the property was just cooler than it looked. So I guess the moral of the story is, sometimes those awesome deals are just sitting right in front of you and you don't see them, or other people don't recognize the benefit or the potential that a property has. So if you can see things that other people don't, sometimes that takes showing up on site and looking at that property you've been thinking about for a while. When I actually went and looked at that property, I was like, I can't believe I didn't buy this months ago. I would have paid another 10 grand. Its price has been coming down the whole time. I'd have paid 10 more thousand for that property, but it just, I never got out there and looked at it, so I couldn't believe it was still available. So the MLS is not my number one pick for investment properties, but man, I've picked up several deals that I've made over $100,000 right on the MLS, and in cases like this, it's out there for months. So don't neglect the MLS. Realtors are good sources of leads. The MLS is a good source. It's one of many. If you're out there looking for investment properties, look everywhere, but the MLS is where the most properties are, especially if you see something that other people might miss. So anyways, thanks again. Please subscribe. See you soon. If you guys have any real estate needs whatsoever, please reach out. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, share, follow, comment, and you can find me on any of these other places that you enjoy your content. So thanks very much. Really appreciate it.